G'day shedders, my name's Jason. Today I'm going to give you a few pointers and tips for cleaning your car, getting rid of light scratches, detailing the interior and basically protecting your investment. What I'll often do, this is not necessary, but this is what I like to do. These rubbers are quite fragile because they have a coating on them, which if you polish too much, if you cut too much, you can actually remove it. So if you've got, a sort of extreme case of scunge like this car has had, I will just mask the edge of that off. You don't want to leave this on all day. It's only going to be a couple of hours, it's no problem at all. You don't want it on the actual paintwork. If it's going to be over, you want it over on the rubber. This is Silvo, but Brasso will work, which most people have got it in their cupboard and you can get it in any supermarket. This dirt here is from where you can't get into that groove when you wash it or if you're just brushing over it. So I even get my fingernail in there on that rag. When they say cut and polish, it's because it is cutting a tiny bit of the paint off, but the paints these days are so hard that it's not like you're in danger of actually removing the paint. You know, it is all about elbow grease, but it's coming up great, you can see that. If you get a nice clean rag to do your final polish, to take the residue of the Silvo or Brasso off, and just buff, basically. So that's quite good. Okay, so what you have here is, when you're constantly opening the door, your fingernails are scratching in this cavity in here. So this is where the Brasso or the Silvo that you're using comes in handy. Now you can see where this person's, obviously like everyone, you miss with the key and it scratches around the keyhole. So you can see here, there's a couple of scratches here and it's quite dulled off. Now these are really fine scratches. Let's see if I can get those off with the Silvo. Okay, when you remove your scratches with your Silvo or your Brasso, you do need to put some sort of protection on the paint. So any reputable polish, Kitten or your Turtle or so forth, is going to do fine. Many polishes do claim to last years, but I believe that after several washes, most of them are easily removed with the soap and so forth. If your car's garaged, every 6 months, put a coat of polish on it. Okay, interior. You can see here, the dirt in here around your window buttons, so forth, it really never gets clean. It's pretty built up. It's going to take more than a rag to clean this. What I'll prefer to use is spray and wipe. This one is, but it could be Mr. Muscle or any kind of light sort of degreaser kitchen cleaner. That works really good, nothing too abrasive. A little bit of soapy water. You can use your car wash. Because it's the interior, you can use just a standard dishwashing liquid. You need a paintbrush and a nail brush. Obviously not too coarse because you don't want to damage your vinyl, but that one seems to be my favourite. And a bit of chamois and a dry rag is pretty good. You could actually just have straight cold water without detergent in it because you've got your detergent here. This will probably end up soaping anyway, but I like to put a little bit of soap in it. Probably want to be a little bit careful with your buttons, but they're pretty robust. They'll put up with a bit of liquid. So in your top of your door, you get a lot of dirt down here that's just built up over the years. And more than likely has never been cleaned. So if I start in here, really get it in there around all the cracks. Okay, get right in that seam there. Okay, you'll see I've used quite a lot of water. It's not really a problem. If you think about when you open the car door in the rain, you know, there's a certain amount of water that does get on your trims, and they can handle quite a bit of water. I mean, you know, within reason, of course. I've sprayed some Nifty or spray and wipe on there. I've splashed a bit of water on it. I've given it a good scrub. Then with a nice clean chamois, I've chamoised it off, and now I'll just go over it with a clean rag just to dry out the last of the moisture. And you can see that it's pretty dry. There are a couple of marks on this trim that won't come off just because of the scratches in the vinyl, but it has come up pretty nice. It's come up really nice, actually. This is the Silvo / Brasso at work. Again, elbow grease. You can see I'm just getting in those little nooks and crannies. And I think this separates a good detail from a not so good one, really, because this never gets cleaned in here when you wash your car. Then what you can do, get your paintbrush, bit of your light degreaser, look, that's pretty good, I think. Now you can just hose that off. The age-old problem of the bird poo. Always an issue with good paintwork. When I see bird poo on my car, I get it off straight away. So I actually always keep a chamois in my car, because if it's a hot day and your car's sitting in the sun, when heat is on it, it will penetrate into your paint and can actually lift your paint up. What I do is I wet a rag or a chamois, a bit of paper, whatever, just put it on and just wet it up a bit. See, that's not gonna, if I can rub and it's not gonna come off, but what I'll do is I'll just put a bit of water on it. Usually if there's one bird poo, there's another. So while that's wet, I'll put, look at that, that's bird poo all there. I'll put a bit of water on it. You just have to be a little bit patient, because if you start scrubbing that, that's just gonna scratch your paintwork. Just keep wetting it and ultimately it'll come off. Okay, a few tips on car washing. Never use dishwashing detergent. Dishwashing detergent it's too strong a degreaser, and it will take off any wax or polish that you've got on your paintwork. So always use a dedicated car wash. I use an old chamois. You can use a sponge, or you could use a clean rag, a clean cotton cloth. Also, never wash your car in the sun. That's the worst thing you can do. You don't want the soap to dry. Continually drench your sponge or your rag, whatever you're using, because as the dirt comes off, it will cling to your sponge, and you can drag it over the rest of the car and scratch it. So I'm constantly putting it back in the water. Okay, now this is a handy tool to have, this big brush. It's quite soft. You get these at Autobarn, or pretty much, you probably get them at Bunnings. You know, just make sure it's nice and soft. They're designed to do this. I wouldn't actually wash my car with that, like the actual paintwork, but this is great for your plastics in here. And do this every time you wash your car. It's good for glass. I mean, you can get in all your nooks and crannies with a brush. It's great. You're never going to be able to get a sponge or a rag in around parts like your grill. Again, the brush is brilliant for this. Again, if you clean this like this every time you wash your car, it's always going to look good. I hope you found those tips useful. Just remember, a little bit of ongoing maintenance can save you a lot of money in the long run. And it's a really satisfying thing to do. Turn around and see your car looking magic. So give it a go.